How encouraged are you by these inflation numbers, and to what degree do you factor in inflation when you're trying to work out what stocks to invest in and what your strategy is, if at all?
Well, definitely inflation picture is far more variable than what we have seen in the U.S., for example, with the continued very subdued pressure on consumer price inflation, even on the import side, with the, other than the commodity and, raw energy like oil and the gas, by and large, we have seen a measure of stability. So for 2022, inflation has not really, popped up as a prominent issue that would grip investor attention.
Okay, so not as prominent an issue for investors as perhaps some other countries like the US and elsewhere. Let's delve a little bit more micro into your portfolio, because you have some really big tech-heavy names like Alibaba and XPeng is another one that I'm looking at here. And it has been a difficult environment, hasn't it? A lot of forces at play, notably regulatory compliance crackdown. Do you think that the worst is behind us and that companies in your portfolio have adapted appropriately?
I very much think so. Last year obviously was a very challenging year for the tech sector and the markets broadly on the back of sweeping regulations. Granted, many of the regulations are motivated by the same set of policy objectives, such as anti-trust, enforcing consumer data security and privacy protection. The same set of issues we now see, grabbing attention, in Brussels and Washington as well. But as we all know, the way the Chinese government, communicated, enforced those regulations, and the ferocity certainly started their markets. But at this point, I think dust has settled down, and I think the tech sector has reached the level of better compliance. The government is also much more comfortable with where things are going. So I do think regulation is no longer a significant risk and uncertainty anymore.